Hi, welcome to Storybook Cottage. This is the back entrance into our home, and as they say, backdoor guests are best. When we purchased the home, it had this antique schoolhouse bell already installed, and I just love it. It is quite loud though, you can hear it several houses down. I think that definitely says that school is in session. Hi, I'm Laura Ingalls Wilder. Welcome to Lessons with Laura. This is going to be a 9-week series inspired by the Little House books written by Laura Ingalls Wilder. We're going to create some fun crafts, make some delicious recipes, as well as look at what life was like in the 1870s and 1880s. In addition to using the Little House books as a resource, we'll be taking a look at the new book, The Laura Ingalls Wilder Companion, written by Annette Whipple. I think you'll really enjoy this book. Now, one of the questions I'm often asked is, am I related to Laura Ingalls Wilder? And the happy answer is yes. This is the Charles Ingalls family. This is Carolyn, Carrie, Laura, Charles, Grace, and Mary. Now, of her 3 sisters, Laura was the only one to have a biological child, Rose Wilder Lane, who you might be aware of, as she was also an extremely gifted writer and journalist. Sadly, Rose only had one child, a son, who died in infancy, so there aren't any direct descendants of the Charles Ingalls family. There are cousins, and that is how I'm related. Now, this was Laura's paternal grandparents, Laura and Lansford Ingalls. And this photo was taken after Charles and Caroline had already moved away from the big woods. And this is my great-great-grandfather, Lansford James Ingalls. He went by James just to differentiate from his father. And so in essence, Caroline and Charles Ingalls are my aunt and uncle several generations back, and Laura is my cousin a few generations back. Now, people often assume that I'm named after Laura Ingalls Wilder, but I was actually named for her grandmother and my great-great-grandmother. When my great-great-grandfather, Lansford James, went off to fight in the Civil War, his mother gave him a small Bible, and she had inscribed it with her full name, Laura Colby Ingalls, which was common in that era. And that Bible was passed on to the oldest son all the way to my father. And the story is he always loved the name Laura. Now, it was not easy growing up in the 70s as Laura Ingalls. I got a lot of half pint, do you live in a log cabin, where's your sunbonnet? But today, it's a lot of fun. Most people have really happy memories of either being fans of the television show or loving the Little House books. And I love both equally, so everyone is welcome here. And one of the things that I'll also be sharing with you is historical fashions. It is a hobby of mine, and I've devoted the last few years of my life to really researching what the fashions were during the time that the Little House books were written. And so each week I'll have on a different dress, and I have a special corner set up in my schoolroom studio where we'll look at fashions and I'll also share a story in the little reading area of the schoolroom. And with all this talk of the schoolroom, I think it's time to take a tour. I think every school should have a mascot, and ours is a dapple pie dachshund named Grace Ingalls Gunn. You can call her Gracie. And you'll hear her, I'm sure, from time to time, as well as see her. She's a bit of a shadow and likes to be wherever her people are, and I'm not going to try and edit her out. So I hope you like dogs. I'm going to set her down because we're going to work on a project. So in transforming this sunroom into my schoolhouse, I was thinking about how do I hide the technology which is on this side of the room. I have a teenage son, so we have a gaming device as well as a television. And I was watching an old episode of Little House on the Prairie, and Mrs. Beadle was writing out assignments on the chalkboard at the front of the school. And come Sunday, Reverend Alden came in and shut the green curtains to give more of an ambiance of the schoolhouse was also a church. So I thought, that's great. I will just make some curtains. And the very next day, my friend Michelle said, hey, I have 4 yards of deep green corduroy. Do you want it? And I'm like, oh, this is amazing. Yes, I do. So I didn't want anything permanent, and I didn't want anything that was going to damage the wood. This shower curtain rod should do the trick. So you just slide it in, and shower curtains, as you know, work on a suspension spring system. So just want to leave a little bit at the top. Now I did a rough hem on these curtains because eventually I will want to use this fabric again once this series is over. So we're going to just put up the curtains now. Hopefully the shower curtain will hold. And which way does it go? Okay, it goes this way. Welcome to the Little House schoolroom. This is in the sunroom at the back of Storybook Cottage. It's rather small, but perfect for what I would like to do. This beautiful desk was given to me by one of my longtime readers of Decor to Adore. I had announced on my website and social media that I was looking for a desk, and she contacted me. Her name is Jackie. She said, I have a handmade desk I would love for you to have. So I am very grateful to Jackie. And this is an antique chalkboard and art center. It pulls down and you can stick your paints in there. And the little paper turner still works. I had to refill it. And over on the desk, we have an Elson reader and a McGuffey reader. Those were given to me by long-term readers, as well as the little sweet school bell. My friend Holly has loaned me her antique inkwell. So we're all ready for school. And this area is where we'll look at historical fashions. So we have just a basic work dress and apron on the mannequin right now. And then over on this side is our little reading area. There's Grace, as usual. So we have a place to sit and enjoy a story and set down a cup of tea. And at the top on the shelf are two of my first edition Little House books. One was given to me by my cousin Tara, and the other a longtime friend. The log cabin was made for me several years ago by a reader. And there's a replica of Charlotte, as well as Laura's tin cup. And my collection of very well-loved Little House books given to me by my great aunt, Mildred Ingalls Wilder. And some of my reference books. The China Shepherdess was a gift from the Schodorfs, who own the Little House on the Prairie in Kansas. When my husband and I lived overseas, I made sure to collect some of the books in German, one in France. This is a Greek book. We lived on the island of Crete, and I think when I last checked, the Little House books had been translated into something like 80 different languages. So I love my books. Are you a book reader? What are some of your favorite stories? I hope you'll share down in the comments. Maybe hit the like button, and I'll see you next week.